A battlefield can look enormous on a map. From the ground, it can shrink to the few meters between you and the place trying to kill you. Now imagine 11 of history's most lethal battlefields. Different centuries, different weapons. The same brutal question: where is the safe ground? There is one problem. Historians do not count every battle the same way, and casualty estimates can vary sharply, especially across ancient and global conflicts. So this is not a perfect numerical ranking. It is a survival journey through 11 battles remembered for catastrophic human loss and terrifying conditions. You are not the general. You are not moving pieces on a map. You are there, and the past gives no mercy. August 2nd, 216 BCE. Near Cannae in southern Italy, a Roman army faces Hannibal on open ground beneath the hard summer light. At first, the Roman mass looks like strength. Rank behind rank presses forward, a dense column built to break the enemy's center. But density becomes danger. The deeper you move, the less room you have to turn, breathe, see, or understand what is happening beyond the men around you. Hannibal's center bends backward while his stronger wings hold. Then the Carthaginian and allied forces close around the Roman flanks. The trap is not a wall. It is people. Every escape route fills with bodies, shields, noise, dust, and pressure. Ancient casualty figures are debated, but what remains clear is that tens of thousands of Romans died in a single day. Survival became an accident of position. At Cannae, one decision had already been made for you: enter the mass. Once the circle closed, strength itself became the trap. Fast forward more than 2,000 years. October 1813. Around Leipzig, Europe assembles armies on a scale the continent has rarely seen. More than 500,000 soldiers are drawn into the Battle of Nations. Cannon smoke turns villages, roads, and fields into one connected danger zone. If you are an infantryman, the horizon is deceptive. A quiet field can become an artillery corridor before you finish crossing it. Black powder clouds hide the next formation. Commands travel by voice, drum, rider, and memory. Confusion is not a side effect. It is part of the battlefield. For 4 days, forces collide around Leipzig. Ammunition, fatigue, and the ability to move through crowded roads become survival problems. Then retreat creates another trap. A bridge over the White Elster is blown before much of the French rearguard has crossed. At Leipzig, the battlefield is bigger than your sight. You can survive the cannon and still lose to one bridge, one order, 1 minute too late. July 1st, 1916. The Somme. You are below ground level, waiting beneath a sky that has been hammered by artillery for days. The bombardment was supposed to destroy wire, trenches, and strongpoints. In many sectors, it did not do enough. When the signal comes, you climb. The first day will become the bloodiest in British military history, with almost 60,000 British casualties. Machine gun positions cover open ground. The problem is not courage. The problem is geometry, distance, visibility, wire, and fields of fire. A shell hole looks like shelter until you reach it and discover water, collapsing soil, or nowhere to move next. By afternoon, the battlefield is a maze of broken landmarks. A road, a tree line, even a village can disappear under smoke and earth. The Somme continues for months. More than 1 million casualties are often associated with the battle across British, French, and German forces. Here, survival is not one heroic moment. It is repeated exposure. One climb, one crossing, one shell hole, then another. 1 month before the Somme, another battle had already begun. Verdun would last roughly 300 days. At Verdun, artillery is not background sound. It is the environment. Contemporary accounts describe a battlefield shaped continuously by shell fire. Roads matter because everything at the front must arrive somehow. Food, shells, replacements, water, medical supplies, and men. If the road slows, the front begins to starve. If the front collapses, the road becomes the route everyone needs at once. Forts such as Douaumont become symbols objectives, shelters, and traps. Concrete can protect you from fragments and still imprison you in darkness. Casualty estimates vary, but the combined toll is generally placed in the hundreds of thousands. Verdun turns endurance into a weapon. The survival decision is cruelly simple. Keep moving supplies, keep holding ground, keep returning to a place that is being physically erased. Then comes Passchendaele in 1917, a name that will become almost inseparable from mud. Shelling tears apart the drainage system of the Ypres landscape. Rain fills the damaged ground faster than men can repair it. The mud is not just uncomfortable. In places it is deep, sticky, and waterlogged enough to stop movement and turn a wrong step into panic. A straight line is often impossible. You move from plank to plank, crater to crater, trying to read a landscape with no stable surface. Artillery still reaches you, but now every stretcher, ammunition box, and ration must cross ground that resists the people carrying it. British Empire losses alone exceeded 250,000 killed, wounded, or missing. German casualty estimates also run into the hundreds of thousands. At Passchendaele, the ground is the trap. You do not need to be surrounded. The earth itself can remove your last route out. In 1938, the scale changes again. The Battle of Wuhan spreads across a vast region of central China for more than 4 months. More than 1 million Chinese troops are involved across the wider battle area, facing Japanese forces supported by aircraft, artillery, and river power. This is not one compact field. Hills, rivers, rail lines, villages, and roads become connected survival problems. Heat and humidity drain the body. Disease and contaminated water can keep fighting long after the firing stops. If a bridge is lost, retreat can become a river problem. If a road is cut, ammunition and food may exist only a few kilometers away and still be unreachable. The casualty estimates differ by source, but the fighting at Wuhan was among the largest and bloodiest of the Second Sino-Japanese War. Wuhan is captured, but China does not collapse. For you on the ground, strategic meaning arrives later. First, you must survive the next road. By autumn 1941, German forces are driving toward Moscow. Then distance, resistance, and weather begin closing around the offensive. The first enemy is mud. The Rasputitsa turns roads into deep tracks that swallow wheels, slow supply columns, and punish every delay. Then temperature falls. Lubricants thicken. Engines resist. Metal becomes painful to touch. Clothing and shelter become part of combat power. You can have ammunition and still fail if the truck carrying it cannot reach you. Logistics becomes a survival clock. Soviet defenses harden around the capital, and fresh formations join a counteroffensive in December. The attacker is no longer simply advancing. Casualty figures for the battle vary widely with dates and operations counted. What does not vary is the scale of exhaustion. Near Moscow, the cold does not defeat an army by itself. It magnifies every weak supply line, every delay, and every body already pushed too far. Stalingrad begins as a city on the Volga. By late 1942, entire districts have become layers of brick, dust, steel, and fire-blackened concrete. Urban combat destroys distance. The next threat may be across a street, behind a wall, above a stairwell, or under the same roof. You learn a new geography: cellar, factory floor, courtyard, sewer opening, collapsed wall. A few rooms can become a front line. The Volga is a lifeline and a target. Supplies and replacements cross under danger, often at night, into a city that consumes them quickly. Then November changes the battle. Soviet Operation Uranus strikes the Axis flanks and closes a vast encirclement around the German Sixth Army. Inside the pocket, the survival equation becomes fuel, food, medicine, shelter, and time. Air supply cannot meet the army's needs. The battle produces casualty estimates in the millions when military and civilian losses across the wider struggle are counted. Exact totals remain debated. In Stalingrad, survival is measured in rooms, calories, degrees below freezing, and whether the corridor you used yesterday still exists today. July 1943. Around Kursk, the battlefield is prepared before the attack begins. Defense is built in depth. Minefields, wire, trenches, anti-tank guns, artillery zones, and reserve positions create layer after layer of resistance. If you are inside a tank, armor feels like protection until the hatch closes and the world becomes noise, heat, fumes, and limited vision. Outside, infantry must read ground already designed to funnel movement. A path that looks open may exist because someone expects you to take it. The fighting around Kursk involves enormous armored and artillery forces. Popular legends simplify it, but the reality is a wider, complex battle of attrition and depth. One disabled vehicle can block another. One mine can expose a column. One wrong route can turn armor into a traffic problem under fire. At Kursk, the trap is planned into the landscape. Survival begins before contact, with the ability to recognize where the ground is trying to send you. April 1945. Berlin is surrounded. The war in Europe is nearing its end, but for anyone inside the city, the battlefield is tightening. Artillery, rubble, and barricades turn streets into narrow channels. A route visible on a city map may no longer exist on the ground. Cellars offer shelter, but they also concentrate people beneath unstable buildings. Water, air, sanitation, and exits become immediate concerns. Above ground, every intersection exposes you to windows, upper floors, artillery fragments, and armored vehicles moving through restricted streets. The Soviet assault closes from multiple directions. German defensive units are fragmented, communications fail, and orders may describe a city that has already changed. The battle costs vast numbers of military and civilian lives. Exact totals differ, but the scale of destruction is beyond dispute. In Berlin, survival may depend on the least dramatic decision imaginable. Which stairwell, which cellar, which street, which hour. April 1945. Okinawa. The battle lasts nearly 3 months on an island of ridges, caves, rain, and fortified ground. The first problem is deceptive terrain. A ridge that looks empty can hide reverse slope positions, tunnels, and caves invisible from the approach. Defenders use depth and underground positions to survive bombardment and force attackers into repeated assaults against prepared ground. Then the rain arrives. Roads dissolve into mud. Vehicles bog down. Equipment rusts. Evacuation and resupply slow under a sky that refuses to clear. For civilians trapped on the island, the battlefield offers almost no true separation from military danger. Tens of thousands die during the campaign. For troops, exhaustion becomes cumulative. Heat, rain, mud, shelling, disease, cave fighting, and the knowledge that the next ridge may repeat the last. Okinawa proves the pattern one final time. The deadliest ground is often the ground that removes every simple choice. Cannae closed the circle. Leipzig destroyed the route. The Somme exposed the open ground. Verdun made endurance itself the weapon. Passchendaele weaponized mud. Wuhan stretched danger across a region. Moscow magnified every supply failure. Stalingrad turned rooms into front lines. Kursk built the trap into the landscape. Berlin collapsed the city around you. Okinawa hid danger inside the earth. Across centuries, weapons change. Uniforms change. Commanders change. But at ground level, survival often depends on seeing the danger before the battlefield removes your options. 11 battlefields. No safe ground. The question is not whether history was brutal. The question is simpler. Could you survive this?